studio for the next, well, until things are better. And I figured what would be a really cool thing to do right now would be to just kind of fill you in on how we're coping with things and some of the things that we're going to be working on and some of the things that we can and can't do based on the fact that frankly, things are very strange right now. Let's just leave it at that, right? Let's just leave it at that. So if you are watching this, please bear with me because there's multiple chats that I'm trying to monitor at the same time, and I'm going to try and respond to people watching different chats at the same time. We've got people watching on Periscope on Twitter. We've also got people watching on YouTube. So I feel like we need to start with some responses to stuff that's going on. So the first thing that people have said, hi Len from Cambridge, good to see you. Hi Gordon, how are you doing? The sad news is that I have picked up a bug. Let's just put that on the table. People were asking why I was self-isolating yesterday, and the reality is that I wasn't self-isolating because I believed that I had the C. Nearly said it, that would have screwed up my live stream. We don't have that, but I do have a cold, and the reason that I don't think it is the dreaded V is because I have a cough, but it's more of a chesty cough rather than a dry cough. And also I'm producing like the normal cold stuff. No, it's not like a dry cough. I don't have a fever. I'm just feeling a bit stuffy in my head, which makes me think it's just a cold. Nothing more. It's just a cold. And so that's great news because it means that I do not have any of the nasties, which is very important. But I'm still safe isolating, self-isolating even, just kind of for sanity's sake, and also because I don't want to make things worse. My wife had a cold like 3 weeks ago, and I talked to her about the symptoms this morning, and she's like, yeah, it sounds like you've got the cold that was going around my office. So I don't think I have, the dreaded virus, but at the same point, I am going to be working from home, and that does mean that Transport Evolved videos are going to be a little bit bizarre for a couple of weeks. We had some videos that were in production that are still in production. One of them is an animation which Erin is working on, and I don't know if it was the common sense or the stupidity. I sent Erin a message on Thursday last week and went basically Wednesday last week. I said to Erin, I don't want you in the office anymore, go home. And Wednesday was her day off. I said, come in on Thursday, pick up your computer and just go home. And to those watching, Mike says, I had a cold and just got over it. Yeah, and I think this is probably just a cold, We had snow on the ground yesterday. In fact, we still have snow on the ground. I don't know if I can show this to you without destroying the camera. If you look out there, you'll see there is, in fact, snow on the ground. So we had some snow yesterday, and I would use the Wirecast Go, but Wirecast Go for some reason is not working properly. I can fire the app up, and no matter what I do, if I try and add that as a shot, it just doesn't want to work. So otherwise I would show you my server closet and all the other cool things that we've got going on right now. So where was I? Erin is now working from home. She is working from home. She is working on an animation which will be, fixed in the next couple of days. Thank you to everyone. Love your channel rocks. Thank you. And woo, snow. Well, because the reason I'm kind of excited about the snow is because I live up in the foothills of the coastal range. I have to be really careful about where I say I live. I know some of you who watch this actually know where I live, and a couple of you have actually come to my house. That's because I consider you friends rather than just viewers. Kind of your next level. Some of you have come here and you know where I live, and it's in the foothills of the coastal range, and we're at about 850 feet, and we normally get, apparently this location normally gets quite a bit of snow in the winter. We have not had any significant snowfall since we moved here last May. We had a little bit of snow, and we had some snow in November or December time, and then I think we had another load around Christmas, and then we haven't had any snow since. So for us to get some significant snow that lay on the ground for a while is quite shocking. So we have snow on the ground. I'm kind of glad that it snowed when it did, because I was just about to start planting things in the garden. And if you haven't seen my gardening channel, please do go and look at my own personal channel, because I'm working on a new personal channel, which I'm going to be working on, talking about gardening, like all of these things. These are all my seeds. All of my seeds. I've got some more seeds. Basically, I'm planting all of these this summer, and I spent some time yesterday working out where everything is going to go. So where are we with Transport Evolved? So Transport Evolved, Erin is working from home, but Kate Walton-Elliott is, I think until further notice, kind of on a bit of a focusing on work. For those who don't know, we don't talk about it all that much. I don't think she likes talking about it all that much. Kate is a healthcare professional, and so she is on the front line of whatever this is going to turn out to be that we find ourselves in right now. And that means that she's not going to have a whole lot of spare time for making videos. She's still finishing her house, and obviously she has to work and keep herself healthy. So all of that stuff is happening. Someone in the Periscope even is saying, do we have a greenhouse? No, we don't have a greenhouse. We are probably going to build one at some point, but the most important thing right now is our chicken coop, which maybe I'll come to later on. If you want me to talk about chickens, I'll talk about chickens a little later on in the show. So if you watched Transport Evolved Saturday, you'll know that we had some issues with our t-shirt provider. Am I wearing one of our t-shirts? No, I'm not. And our t-shirt provider removed a design from our store because in the description we use the word Chevy Bolt, and according to Teespring, the term Chevrolet Bolt are both copyrighted trademarks, and therefore we're not allowed to use those words in describing the t-shirt. And because it is a picture, an art piece of art that we designed of said vehicle, or rather Erin designed, I had no place in it, it is something that is not allowed on the site, and so therefore Teespring pulled our one of our most popular t-shirts, the Chevrolet Bolt Evolved t-shirt, and pulled that from the store. So we are not working with those guys anymore. You will see over the next couple of weeks, maybe even the next month or so, there will be some videos in which we do talk about our Teespring swag store. That's just because we've recorded them before edited, but you know, they're in the can, but they've not been edited yet, and so they need to go out over the next couple of weeks, and that means that we will sometimes mention Teespring, but we're not going to do that anymore. So if you combine that with us getting demonetized by YouTube, we had a video on this channel demonetized because we wrote on a piece of paper the name of the thing that everybody's scared about right now. We wrote that on a piece of paper and we held it up, and that was enough to get us demonetized. So as a creator, I am nervous about, you know, all of this stuff, not because socially isolating, because I'm an introvert and I prefer having my conversations through a digital device, but because, you know, if our ability to earn money is removed because of this, then we're in trouble. That said, as I said yesterday, or was it today, on the video on the main channel, if you have if you are in a position where you've been a Patreon supporter and you are worried and believe that you can no longer support us, do not believe do not feel that you have to support us. You know, we understand if you have to reduce your support, and maybe you're currently at $10 and you need to go down to $1. I understand. I might have to do the same thing. You know, we're all in this together, and so you know we're going to try and pull things together and pull things down, and that will be the way forwards, I think, for us as a channel. Now, I have a letter here that I want to read. This is from a gentleman who has supported us a lot on this channel, and he's been basically every Christmas he sends us a check to help us through the next year. It says, "Hi Nikki and friends," and I'm not going to mention his name. He's a gentleman that lives in California. He lives in Southern California. I think it's okay to say that. I don't want to say thank you to him publicly by using his name, because I always feel when people want to publicly thank them, but you don't necessarily want to say their name, because it might be a substantial amount, as it is in this case. On the last show, I saw you were interested in an old electric car you would like to buy. Enclosed is a little that may help you to get it. And this gentleman sent us a check which I've cashed into the business. And I have gone to the owner of said vehicle, and I've had a bit of a chat to the current owner of said vehicle. For those who don't know, it is a commuter car from 1974. It's electric. It's 48 volts. And it's a great little vehicle, and I think it's a very important vehicle, kind of in the history of EVs. It's not kind of one of the very first electric vehicles. It's one of these electric vehicles that was born out of the oil crisis in the 70s. It's a vehicle that has been owned by other people, not this particular one, but other people have owned identical vehicles. I mean, Simone Yates has one, her cheese wedge, so we are getting our own version of the cheese wedge. But what is different is that instead of just restoring it and putting it back on the road, I would like to, and we've agreed a sale. So we've agreed a sale in principle. I haven't actually physically purchased it yet because we're waiting for the title and stuff. I haven't physically purchased it yet, but the gentleman who sent us a check for the full amount to buy it, and so that's why I'm not saying his name, because it's very generous. And what I want to do, and I need to talk to Kevin Sharp and a couple of other people in the open source world, what I want to do is to use that vehicle as a test bed or a demonstration case for open source vehicle conversion. And my goal is to try and use maybe a Prius hybrid motor, and rebuild this low speed bone shaker of an early EV with open source components, and to see how easy it is to do that, and how and maybe shine a light on some of the open source projects that are out there. So that would be something that I would love to do. And people are asking about my personal channel, so I will put that in a bit later on, unless someone has that link and they're willing to share it in the chat, which is, I'm totally okay with. So we will be doing some videos on restoring this vehicle and using open source recycled components to give it life again. That's my goal, because I think, while Tesla and Chevrolet and Hyundai, Kia, and all the other companies out there doing great things, Rivian, Bollinger, while these companies are doing amazing things with brand new electric vehicles, some more than others, obviously, I think one of the things as a society that we need to focus on moving forwards is to ensure that we are focusing on recycling as much as possible and reusing and repurposing. And I think now that we've got this dreaded, global pandemic crisis going on right now, that'd be interesting to see if I get demonetized because I said the P word. How do you know it's live? Penis. Now I don't know if it's going to be demonetized for that or demonetized for the other P word, so the current crisis that we find ourselves in is one in which people are going to have to dig deep. People are going to have to rethink how they earn money, how they spend money. I said I don't mind being. How do I put this? I flexed my muscle yesterday. So we went out shopping and I went to places that most people would not go to because either they couldn't get there or they didn't know about it. And I was able to spend a little bit more at a local farm shop to get a lot of the things that are currently out of stock in the mainstream box stores. So we've got plenty of food, we've got plenty of milk. We buy all of our milk from a local dairy. So it's really long life. It's as you go, that's the phlegm. It's non-homogenized, but it's pasteurized, which means you get the cream on top. And that's going to keep me going for a long time. We have 1/3 of an acre. We are getting chickens in a couple of weeks' time. And we have all of these. So if this was to happen like 6 months down the road, we'd have enough fruit and vegetables to keep us happy for a really long time. So, we'll see. To some of the questions. I had a cold and I just got over it, yes. I'm coming for your snow. You better hurry up, kitten. There's not a lot left. I hope you all stayed well. Make amazing coffee at home and look forward to whatever content you get up. Take care of yourselves. That's very graceful here. Thank you. Kianala says, I'd like to help an artist, though I think with April 5th coming, I'd like to donate to ALSA for Dog Bomb. Dog Bomb, if you didn't know, he was a fantastic member of the furry fandom, fantastic fursuiter, great performer, amazing guy. He was a veterinarian, he wasn't a veterinarian, he worked in the veterinary industry, and he got ALS and fought it right until the end, and April 5th is 1 year since he passed away, and he said a lot of people would forget him and not talk about him, and people would forget who he was, and the fandom has done the exact opposite. They still support ALS. The local charity group that I am part of, we regularly do ALS events, although we're currently on hiatus. We made a decision not to do any public events until this current health crisis is over, but yes. I seem to have lost your personal channel. What is it again? Is that the right channel or this? No, my personal channel is the one that is called, excuse me. I've forgotten what the name of my channel is, that's bad. It's called, it used to be called The Whole Enchilada. It's not anymore. My current channel is, let me find the link, My Brain Dump. Let me find the link to the channel. Here we go. I'm going to link it to you all if you're watching in the chat. If you're watching on Telegram, then you can't watch it. Not Telegram. Oops. Periscope. Then you won't be able to see it. But there's only a couple of people there watching on Periscope. So, will this current situation have an impact on your coast-to-coast trip? Says, I can't read that because it's too faded. Will it have an impact on your coast-to-coast trip? It may do. So we're planning a coast-to-coast trip this June, late June, early July. It will be a coast-to-coast trip in an electric car, and we plan to raise money for ALS research along the way, for the reason that I just discussed. So Erin and I are both going to be making this trip. We're picking up somebody else along the way, and this is a charity road trip that also combines to a convention that we both want to go to that's taking place in July. and so we both want to go to the convention, and we don't really want to fly because it's expensive and there's lots of pollution. So we're going to drive coast to coast and then come back, and on the way back we're going to pick up the convention, and we'll try and earn some money for charity on the way. So we'll try and raise some money for charity on the way, and of course we'll make videos for both this channel and the main channel talking about road trips across America. A lot of people were heavily critical of the road trip that we made from Portland to Texas, because they were like, oh yeah, but that was a really easy route, you went through California and that doesn't really count. And so we've got a video coming on that. I don't know when it'll arrive, and then we go from there. We'll be working on some other stuff as well. So there's like 2 different projects related to that are going to be happening. Alright, so the next thing that I wanted to tell you about, I told you about our little project car. Are we coming anywhere near Washington DC on that trip? Potentially we might swing down that way, because there's a potential for us to do some filming with a couple of people that way. So just watch this space. We may or may not come to Washington DC on the way. It depends which route we travel, but we're hoping to go from Seaside, Oregon, all the way across to New York. And the reason we're going from Seaside is because it is the closest coastal point for us on the west coast, rather than going all the way down to LA, which would be an extra 3 days, and that would be crazy. So we've told you there's an animation coming from Erin. I'm working on a couple of videos that I've pre-recorded this week, and because I've got this cold, I don't know if you can hear it, I'm just feeling stuffy. Like, that's why I think it's not you know what, because I don't, and the snow dumped hay fever doesn't work. It's kind of funny because someone saw the yard yesterday and was like, haven't you cut it yet? And I'm like, oh, Friday, sorry. They saw the yard as it was on Friday, said, you should cut your grass. And I said, nope, it's currently under snow. There's still a substantial amount of snow and ice on my lawn outside. So there we go. When it comes to talking about this week, we want to try and get something out about Model Y, but obviously we can't go film with Model Y, especially as I have a cold. Just in case it's you know what, I'm not going out, so I won't be filming with Model Y right now. But if anybody has a Model Y and they want to send me some B-roll of their car, please reach out and get in touch, because I'd be really interested in how that looks. The other thing that's kind of shocking, and I don't know if anybody here is willing to help out, is that we've run out of hard drives. So for those who don't know, we have 2 servers in our company. One of the servers is 45 Drives unit, provided very kindly by 45 Drives, who did a collaboration with them last year, and it's currently got 12 terabyte drives in it, arranged in 2 VDEVs of 5 drives each in RAID Z1 setup. So that's 5 times 12 terabytes per VDEV, and one of those 12 terabyte drives is essentially parity. That's our main drive. We then have a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD that operates as a ZFS cache drive, and then we have a 256 gigabyte SSD that acts as a ZIL drive, basically a log drive, so all the write operations go to it, and that allows us to we're actually now blasting nearly 10 gigabits per second, I think. But we must be getting quite close to that in terms of transfer speed across the network, so that's cool. We're really happy about that. But the challenge for us now is that the backup server, which lives here, actually it's kind of the other side of that wall. There's a stairway, and then the other side of that is it used to just be a closet when the previous owners lived here, but we had this house flood wired, so we have Cat 6E cabling in all of the rooms. There's 4 ports over there, there's 4 ports over there. The main guest room that is now it's now my workshop for crafting, has, I think it's got 2 ports in it, and the bedroom has like 4 or 2 ports. And my daughter's bedroom, which was supposed to be the craft room, but then she ended up getting that one instead of the big one, That has 4 ports in it, which is ridiculous because it was going to be my play space. But anyway, so we have Cat 6e cabling throughout the house, and we have a locked server room, which I was going to show you, but this is not acting as a camera for the program I'm using to stream, so I don't know why that's not working. And someone says one reason not to cut grass. Yeah, no, I mean, like, you don't cut grass when it's still snowing. That's not a good thing. Oh yeah, Gordon said he'd love to do a video. He'd love to do a video. Well, that is true. I'm just gonna shut this door because my family just got back. My wife and I are self-isolating as best as possible. My daughter did just get back from work, so and she's under strict instructions to be really smart about things. But anyway, our server here in the house, in our server closet, had a whole load of the backup server for Transport Evolved, had a load of old hard drives that I was just basically repurposing, and it backs up, not the full 100 plus terabytes that we've currently got on the server at the office, but it backs up just the original source files. And it ran out of space and it stopped backing up, so I've just had to spend $1,200 on server grade hard drives to go in the closet. And for those of you who are watching this going, well, you could have just bought some cheap drives and shucked them, I could have done, but they don't have the warranty that Server Enterprise drives do. And Server Enterprise drives, Linus over at Linus Tech Tips did a great thing on it recently. The ones that are designed to go in servers have additional hardware to make sure that they have error correction and all of that, and that they can run 24/7 for a really long time. Whereas, you know, the hard drives that you buy that go in your consumer device, they're not designed to run in large groups, and so while they might work for a short period of time, you'll know that that was a big problem for us. We had drives die on a regular basis, so that's why we just spent a huge amount of money, $1,200 and some dollars, on 6 8-terabyte Exos hard drives, which is just mind-blowingly crazy. Anyway, if you want to help out with that, please do support us through Patreon or send us a coffee through Ko-fi. Anything you can send will be appreciated. So there you go. If you watch this, you are one of the few rare people who have watched Take Two. A lot of people don't know about Take Two. There's probably about 2,000-3,000 people watch Take Two, as opposed to the nearly 110,000 now that watch the main channel. And if you watch me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, then you may be watching this as well, in which case, hello. If you want to know about Take Two, the YouTube channel Take Two for Transport Evolved, go to youtube.com/Transport Evolved Take Two. You will find it there. Perhaps you should archive some data, says Matthew. The problem with archiving data, and I've gone through this time and time again, is that car companies put up B-roll. It's all the shots of all of the cars that they make. They put that up on their website, and they might keep it up there for a couple of months, and then they take it away again. If they redesign the website, they don't bother putting up stuff that they had on the old website. And so if you don't grab that B-roll when you grab it, when it's available, you might never be able to use it again. And as you guys know, we focus on not only new cars, but also older cars, used cars. When we are doing things, we talk about, we make throwbacks and references. So if, for example, if we talk about the new Kia Soul EV, we might include footage of the old Kia Soul EV. And aside from me wanting to keep a copy of that really cute hamster video with the electric Soul hamster video, we also have B-roll of the old Kia Soul EVs on our hard drive, so we keep that. And then we actually have 3 copies. So we have one copy that lives on a minimal copy. I don't even think you can see this. There's a hard drive right here. It's a 4-terabyte hard drive. And that is our transportation, that's the one we know. We also have a 2-terabyte NVMe SSD, which is what I use when I'm editing, when I'm traveling on a plane and things like that. And then we also have the backup server here, plus the server at the studio. So we have it backed up in 2 different locations and 3 different devices. So most of the time we're good. But these 2 little drives here that I take with me, they don't have everything on it, and the 4 terabyte drive is just about to die. It's in terms of space. I need to invest maybe in a portable, like a portable 8 terabyte drive that can run off of USB. So that's going to be one of the things that I try and do. And we don't use that for anything other than on-the-go editing, because it's a tiny, slow hard drive, and so we don't have all of the footage on there that we need. So that's only the B-roll from automakers. All of the A-roll, which is the stuff of me talking to the camera, that all exists in 2 locations. It exists on the backup server and on the main server. And people saying, well, why don't you archive it all? Yeah, I could archive it. Yes, I could just get rid of it completely. I could just download it from YouTube when I want to reference it. But the setup is so that you end up with a situation where you have all of your stuff is on YouTube and you download it, you don't get it back at the original quality that you uploaded it at. The original files get destroyed by YouTube, so it degrades. And if you want to see how much it degrades every time you upload it to YouTube, why don't you go and watch MKBHD's experiment on what happens if you download and upload a video like 1,000 times. It's crazy. And then you see just how badly degraded that video becomes. It is shocking. Absolutely shocking. Before I go, one final thing. Obviously, Fully Charged Live has been postponed. It hasn't been cancelled, it's been postponed. Fully Charged Live UK, not Fully Charged Live USA. I had some people confused about that. We're talking about Fully Charged Live, the one that was due to take place May 1st and 2nd in the UK. That is not happening in May anymore. It's been moved to Halloween weekend, so October 30th, October 31st, and November 1st. And November 1st happens to be my 41st birthday, so maybe I'll have a get-together on my 41st birthday. I've never had a birthday party ever in my entire life, so maybe this will be the year where I have a birthday party. Who knows? I don't normally like celebrating my birthday because I buried my father on Halloween in 2001, so the day before my 22nd birthday I buried my father. So since that point I've not really enjoyed celebrating my birthday, but maybe this year will be different. Maybe this will be the year that these things happen. Anyway, thank you for watching. There's going to be a video coming on my personal channel. I'm feeling really stuffy, so I'm going to go, and we will see you soon. Stay safe, wash your hands, be smart, isolate yourself, distance yourself from other people if you can. We've got to beat this, and we've got to beat it together. This is kind of the greatest community effort that people have probably experienced outside of wartime. And I heard someone today say this is equivalent to a wartime effort, so we have to treat it as such. So I don't have the dreaded, COVID 19, but I am not feeling great. So I'm going to take it easy for a couple of days. There will be some videos, but until then, thanks for joining me. Keep evolving.